Hello, welcome to Citizen Tarot. I'm going to start off with a random little bit from this book. It's Feeling Spirit Alive, Never Die by Carol K. Truman. And it's the idea just that your body holds on to different feelings that aren't processed and stuff, and then you end up feeling them in various physical ways. So I'm just going to flip it open. If any of these symptoms occur 3 times a week, this is the first sign of a phobia. Phobias usually happen in people from ages 25 to 45 years. I didn't know that phobias had an age limit, or like range usually. Phobias, blah blah blah. If the phobia is not corrected, it increases in severity and eventually controls a person's life. Women are more prone to phobias than men, and men will usually turn to alcohol in an attempt to minimize or avoid their phobia. Okay, so that's what we're starting with. I had a song like immediately upon waking come up into my head, and I haven't even heard it in like a bajillion years. But it's called "I Wonder" by Rodriguez. So it's like basically, it's kind of a funny song because basically he's just like, I wonder everything. Basically, he just wonders about everything. But there's like the part that was like playing in my head was he's wondering about someone else, wondering who they're with, basically. Okay, I'm gonna start us off with a general energy. I got this down. General, please. 3 cards for the vision. The medallion. One more card for this message. The fault line. Okay. The vision, the medallion, the fault line. I feel like I should do one more. Threshold. Okay, let's see here. I don't know why I didn't take. Dang it! I don't know why I didn't take these out before I got started. These cards are really difficult to get out of the thing. Like really difficult, unreasonably difficult. I just painted my nails. I don't want to mess them up. Let's see. I did it. I figured out how to open a box. Okay. Alright, tell us about this energy. Yeah. I kind of want to analyze it first. Let's see. We've got the vision, the medallion, the fault line, and the threshold. So, perhaps somebody has an idea or a vision of something. Perhaps it's getting to a physical thing or a prize of some sort. When you're reaching toward this vision and spending a lot of time creating this vision, making it up in your head. Okay, the fault line and the threshold. Ooh. But maybe it would take a lot of sort of like hard or difficult activity. Maybe it's getting over something or through something that would be really difficult to get over, like maybe even turbulent, right? Maybe it would cause some upset, some sort of earthquakey sort of energy in one's life, trying to reach for this medallion, or perhaps this is triggering this actual reaching of this medallion. That's kind of more what I'm getting. Something like abrupt and something that shakes someone's world up is what's triggering them to reach for this medallion. This vision they've had for like a bajillion years. They see this little thing that looks similar to that. And so this fault line has brought you to the threshold. You're at the threshold of reaching toward this medallion. Okay. Tell us about this medallion and the vision, the fault line, all of it. The Chariot. On your way. You're on your way. Strength reverse. Three of Pentacles in reverse. These two cards turned sideways, so got the, ooh, they're three. Nine of Wands. Ace of Wands. And the Queen of Wands. And all of those are sideways, so I've never really looked into them being sideways before, but I'm gonna try to, I think that should mean something. I'm gonna read them upright, and then one of them is actually reversed with the others, so, You are a powerful force. You just need to connect with this inner power in a constructive way. Others may question your strength, but you are fierce inside. That's what this card in reverse is. The Strength card in reverse. And then the Three of Pentacles is like not collaborating as much, but working on something on your own, right? You're pursuing this vision on your own. It may be something that you're keeping to yourself, or you feel the need to keep to yourself because it has been started, triggered by something difficult, and maybe people would not be so quick to supporting you in whatever this is because it's like you're moving on, right? With the Chariot. Yeah, something difficult might have happened that's triggered you to move forward with your passion, to explore and heal. Let's see, I want to see this card. Still learning tarot. You can learn with me, why not? Why not? I got this like crazy headache tonight. I don't know why. Even in the face of adversity and exhaustion, you stand tall and strong. You are resilient, persistent, and ready to do what it takes to get to the finish line. Keep pushing, and you are so close, is what it says. Don't let others get to you. So more about this like others energy. You're trying to let not affect you and your decision to move forward and make progress in your life. You've got this Ace of Wands that is just like pure passion energy, like whatever you're pursuing, you feel really strongly about it, and you've got your ace in hand. Perhaps you're ready to put it to action, right? You have this Queen of Wands in reverse. With all these other upright wands, this gives me the impression maybe this is one of the other people, right, that are maybe would be upset that you were pursuing this thing in this way. Now is not the time to be in the limelight. Instead, bring your energy and attention inward and focus on building your self-confidence and resilience. Reaffirm your strengths and talents to yourself, within yourself. Maybe that's something you should do for sure. Maybe that's something this person needs to do for sure. Maybe whatever you're working on away from someone might be upset about it because they're not involved in the way that they might have wanted to be or once was. Yeah, okay. Tell us more. Seven of Swords in reverse. Remind me. You feel like a fraud, but this is fear talking. Get out of your head and trust that you have what you need to make your new venture a success. This is more of a confidence thing. Perhaps this falling shook up this self-confidence, right? Both caused you to go out on the journey with the Chariot, but also maybe whatever this fault line is on, right? Whatever happened, maybe it was like a relationship with someone or with some people, an environment, whatever it was, sort of robbed you of some of your confidence in yourself, and you're trying to get it back with this endeavor. You have Judgment in reverse. Want more? Huh? And the Hermit in reverse. Okay. It's kind of embarrassing that I have to look it up every time, but that's just where we're at for now. I'm just doing it. If I could just find it. Judgment in reverse, okay. You may be troubled by your past actions and choices and their consequences for the present. Self-doubt and judgment are holding you back. You are so close to a major shift, you just need to get out of your own way. So, it seems like you've already made up your mind as to what you want to do, and you might have some issue with like pressing forward with it confidently because of whatever this relationship, whatever it was. It seems like the past actions and choices might have been, like I said, a relationship or an environment you were a part of that is not happy to see you moving on the way that you are. Then you have the Hermit in reverse. You feel lost or confused. Go within. Trust that your path will become clear when you connect with yourself on a soul level. Be careful not to get lost in a deeply spiritual path, disconnecting from the outer world. Yes. So embrace your Neptunian energy of like exploration and daydreaming, but don't allow yourself to totally dwell there. I've been guilty of that myself. And you just kind of get stuck in your head and in a space, maybe even come up with, I don't know, you have to have big dreams, right? Shoot for, I don't know what that term is. Shoot for the stars. You'll land on the moon. Shoot for the moon. You might, I don't even remember how it goes, but you have to have big dreams, but you have to have a way to ground yourself. So we're going to have 5 action cards. Please. Taking these steps that'll help take these steps and move forward. You got Autumn. Coagulation. The Despicable Face. One more card, please. And Winter. I'm going to do one more. I feel like this requires one more. One more action card to sum this up. separation. So what comes to mind immediately is with this autumn, this is the energy of like a season of letting things die off and, ooh, you know, I like that there's a bunch of gold up in this tree. It's like this tree has presented fruits of value in their own way, in their own right, but now it's time to allow it to die off and in a fall season, right? And to embrace the beauty of what it was, right? You see it turn a bunch of different like, cool. And the fall time, you see a bunch of like beautiful colors pop up, and those are all these plants like getting ready to start a new cycle and process where they die off and fall to the ground. Then I see coagulation here, which is like, coagulation is like something curdling up into itself or grouping together. I like the picture itself because it's like a ball of natural kind of things like grass and like flowers and different organic elements that are all kind of balled up together, which I think is cool because it's more of this kind of like letting die off energy, but in order to let something come out of what is falling off of this tree that's been fruitful, but now it's like giving you a different kind of thing, and it looks like death, it looks like just the end of something, but it's really allowing something else to come together, to coagulate. Another one of your action cards is this despicable face, and so this card represents like, you see all these eyes here and whatever, and then in the center there's like nothing. It kind of looks like just like there's the despicable face. The author talks about, an artist talks about it being like the parts of yourself that you don't like to show to people, or like something that you might be embarrassed to admit you like, or want to pursue, whatever it may be, a part of yourself that you feel is really deep. It runs deep. It's part of you. You want to pursue it, explore it, but it's despicable, right? You have to start allowing people to see this despicable face of yours. Despicable, right? You might end up finding it's not so despicable at all, but it might be to some of the people that you're kind of breaking away from with, or the environment you're breaking away from with this fault line. It's totally going to shift people's perspective of you, and you know it. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it might even help those people when they see you doing your thing, right? To do their own. But even like regardless of them, like this is coming into your true self, wearing your face as truly as it is, and even what you consider your despicable face, you might end up finding, like I said, that it's not so despicable after all, and it's something that other people will be able to recognize and like, yeah. You also have this winter card in here. So to me, this is like a process of letting something die off with the autumn, letting it coagulate, letting all these thoughts and ideas and like the resulting like things that fall off of this tree in the time after, while you step into this role that you feel compelled to step into and show to the world, allow what is like died off and collecting to have time to sit, to like then allow rest and let it like simmer, because a lot of the time we have ideas and thoughts and stuff, or something happens and it's hard to really understand what is happening until we look at it in retrospect, and sometimes that retrospect comes way after, right? Sometimes it takes longer than other times to really understand what's going on. And a lot of the time people think that if they sit down and think about it or journal about it or like talk to their therapist long enough about it, that they can just figure it out as fast as they think they need to. But I don't think that's always the case. I think that I think that there are a lot of synchronicities in life that end up showing you how to help take care of yourself and put these pieces together and coagulate your less, I don't know if I want to use the word lesson, but what you have to take from this and turn into something really cool, something that you want to be. It takes this time, so it allows this period of rest and just like not feeling rushed or like you need to do anything. This might come in conflict with this chariot energy where it's like I'm ready to go, right? And resting is a part of that. Resting is going, right? Like you take the action to collect all these materials, let it coagulate. Maybe you don't understand what it is yet, but after letting it sit in your brain and sleeping on it for so long, it starts to make sense. You might just find one day you wake up and you're like, you have an aha moment, right? And I ask for this overall energy. This is separation. In my brain, I'm thinking this isn't just separation from like the self as it is, or as it has been. Sorry, I'm so distracted right now. I have roommates and there's a lot of sounds happening. But this isn't just separation from the self as you have been, or even like your community as it has been. This is separating one concept or part of your life from another that you thought were just like inseparable, maybe. It's like trying to look at something in a new light, and something that you thought was all just like one package deal was actually like a bunch of little parts and pieces that, or like at least two or more parts and pieces that you can change the values of and play with the, you know, how much something means to you or is relevant versus another. And so it's like the thing itself ends up being something you can change based off of these various elements that make it up, right? Tell us more. Okay. I got 3 cards. Oh, 4. You've got 7 of Cups. This is a lot of choices to pick from. Other options that you're exploring, right? 3 of Swords, which is heartbreak. 8 of Swords. And 6 of Wands, which is like triumph and like recognition for your achievement. The 8 of Swords is like feeling trapped, but it's always represented by this person, you know, that's like kind of blindfolded and tied up. There's like all these swords all around her that could help her be freed, right? But she just doesn't even really perceive them as being there. And like anything else, like this could be any gender, so this could be you, this could be I mean, obviously we're assuming this is you right now. I want to see what it means in reverse quick. Ooh. Eight of Swords reverse. You are plagued by limiting self-beliefs that prevent you from moving forward. Change your belief system. Catch yourself when you are in a negative thought pattern and break that cycle. But in order, see the options. The 3 of Swords, the 8 of Swords reverse, and the 6 of Wands, which is ultimately triumph, right? So if we're looking at them in order, you have several choices. I'm kind of getting that the 3 of Swords, the heartbreak, is tied up with the sense of feeling trapped and not having self-confidence to move forward, and like It's really, really difficult to see or even sometimes want to see the ways to free yourself after experiencing heartbreak, like the Three of Swords. And maybe this is, maybe this has to do with love. It could be like a work situation or something that you were, something or someone that you were pursuing that gave you a really strong vision in the past but didn't end up being the medallion you were really trying to reach. It was disappointing. Gave you that Three of Swords energy, and now you have these choices to make, but you don't want to make any of these choices. You're like paralyzed by it. So how are we gonna get to the Six of Wands? Death card in reverse. One more. Ten of Pentacles. This is someone who's really secure in themselves. They're confident. They have material wealth. Like they're set, and that just really means you have what you need. You're confident in your abilities to get what you need, and you do get what you need because you work hard, and then you share it with other people. This is someone who, it's depicted as having a family. Maybe that's the medallion that we're going toward, right? I'm also kind of getting in my head too that like maybe the traditional idea of whatever this Ten of Pentacles is what you've been looking for, but maybe you found that that didn't really meet your needs or give you what you needed. Because when you look at like even the traditional institution of marriage, if it works for you, amazing, but it's not necessarily, it's just something we made up, right? And you've probably thought of this before, but it's like the history of it is like it used to just be like these are two families that come together to like join resources. It's not necessarily about if you love somebody. If you love somebody, that's just like a cherry on the top. But like we live in a different world now, and we are very social and emotional creatures. And you're looking for this Ten of Pentacles. Maybe the traditional method was not the thing that gave you that happiness. Maybe it was or is, but it just went sour for whatever reason. And so you have to figure out a way to get unstuck by formulating your idea of what this would be now that you've had this experience and are at the threshold, right, with this fault line. You have all these choices, but you feel stuck. And what's going to help you be unstuck is by making these decisions, right, from taking all of the things that have fallen off this tree that are like dead, right, but they present material for what you two like, from which you can build a new idea. You just have to think about it, pick up those pieces, and it might take some time to do that, to like totally figure out, like I said, in retrospect, you need to let these pieces of matter, these bits and pieces, separate from each other and come together maybe in a new way. Maybe it's separating yourself from an old idea and letting that sit. Maybe that takes time. Maybe the idea even seems taboo or weird to you at first. Like, yeah, I kind of want that, but like, do I want that? Like, that seems weird, right? What will people think? So, cool. Yeah, I like that. Can we get an overall energy of where we can get? I didn't look at Death in the reverse. Be aware of self-sabotage and self-destructive behaviors. Release any self-imposed limiting beliefs that are standing in the way of your growth and expansion. What I'm kind of getting is that maybe you yourself contributed to whatever reason, whatever happened, this fault line energy that caused this thing to die, right? I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting. And it's not something maybe you even intended, or maybe it's just something that came out of just like not thinking clearly or giving enough thought because it wasn't giving you what you needed. And so maybe you beat up on yourself for that. And you're like, oh yeah, of course, like I'm like, really cool, amazing, beautiful people make really, we all make mistakes. And we make them for different reasons, right? There are the ones that are out of malice and out of poor intent, bad intent, and then they're the ones that are like, I wasn't thinking, I was like in a different universe, and that's not a good that's like not an excuse per se. But it's also not a good reason to beat yourself up either. We have to look at something and then like understand what it was about this thing that was causing us to act the way that we act and think the way that we think. And so it's our job then to figure out what works for us really. If what works traditionally, oh good gravy, what works traditionally, I mean, how many relationships do you know that actually have lasted the test of time? That sounds really pessimistic of me, but I haven't really seen a lot of that myself, but I have seen it. I have seen it, and it works for some people. But there's a reason that our ideas of love are changing in this Aquarian age, right? Where Pluto is moving into Aquarius is really revolutionary. What works for the whole, right? What are the things in the institutions, ideas we've built up over this long period of time that worked for us then as a society, but don't really now as we've evolved and grown, and we've really kind of sort of, there's a focus on emotional intelligence and emotional satisfaction, emotional needs being met. It's not just now that we have so many physical needs met, and that's not everyone. I know it's horrible. I hope that also in this age of Aquarius we can focus on helping the collective in general have their needs met in all areas. Obviously is the utopian hope, but which is very Aquarian. But also like, yeah, like we're not necessarily focused as much on these physical things as much anymore as we are, what am I feeling now that I have all these other things, right? Why doesn't this 10 of Pentacles work for me? Well, it can. You just have to decide what it is. And it's okay that it's different. If it's different. The whole thing, right? The whole thing about honesty and love, is what you agree to, right? It's what you agree to. Two or more people agreeing to something and dedicating themselves to that. And maybe you can allow, I have a bunch of different thoughts on like traditional marriage and maybe different unconventional ways of loving and relationships and stuff like that. Why not share my own thoughts about it? For some people polyamory works, but I don't know if I could do that as well myself. I'm very much like I like to be close. I like to have I don't know. I also, we all have, I also have my own things I need to work on. But I was just talking to a friend recently about, he's been divorced like, was it twice now? Yeah, he's been divorced twice now. And we were talking about relationships and like marriage in general, and like, what if I had this thought, I was like, what if marriage was like just an agreement to be married in that way, dedicated in that way for 2 years at a time, right? And what if that was like a societal norm or whatever? Because you change so much, we all do. And so a lot of the time people will get really, really hurt because they'll like, someone will change and someone's not changing the same direction they're changing, right? And so they grow apart. That's just part of things. But it doesn't have to necessarily be like, I'm not good enough, right? And that's what we always boil it down to. And it's really not that. And even the other person who's like on the I'm growing this way and I need to let you go side is maybe thinks the same thing, where it's like, we're on different, like it becomes this like hierarchy thing, and it's just messy. It doesn't make any sense. It's just we're all on different paths and different levels. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but we were talking about that, and like we're like, oh yeah, that's kind of like an interesting thing, right? And it's not to say like, oh, I don't want to love you forever. If I can, boy, I'm gonna. But accepting like we change, and I'm here to grow, and my intention is to grow and change and improve myself, and I want to do that with you. And in 2 years, if we find that we want to keep going, we'll do it again, right? We recommit. Because there's something to be said about commitment for sure, but and having and knowing for sure that there's someone to lean on. But there's also like this idea with traditional marriage that like this person's going to fulfill all the things that I need from them, and there are all these taboos about having emotional connections with other people outside of the marriage, and they have to be the one person for everything, and that just makes no sense. No one person is going to fill all of your needs, right? And especially for your entire life. If they do for some time, great, but if you're expecting that for your entire life, like of course, like most of the time relationships fail because the institution of marriage is not created in a way that like reality actually functions, right? It doesn't work that way. So anyway, that was a whole tangent. Oh yeah, and then the other part of that was the next day I was online, and I actually saw that there had been like an article posted about the same thing of like literally like people being married for like 2 years. I took a screenshot of it, and I need to go find it because I was like, what? We were just talking about this. I thought this was just a random idea, but like that's the way the collective works, right? Maybe that's something also to consider. Like you're not the only one that's going through this or gone through this. Perhaps it'll be helpful to talk to people about it, help you to accept, and let sit the ideas that you have about it that might be more taboo, that might make you even uncomfortable to think at first, but like, yeah, the best way to go forward and not hurt other people and not hurt yourself is to figure out what it is that you want and need, and what you want and need is valid. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Once you do that inner work and figure out what you want and need, you can take that to people, and then if they agree on that, that's what it's about, right? Agreeing and helping each other grow. And yeah, whatever that looks like for you looks different compared to someone else's world, like in regards to that, right? So yeah, that's the bit. I didn't even like, what were we talking about? Phobia. Oh, that was what we started with, and that reminds me of this Eight of Swords card, a phobia. So maybe this is like a deep fear too that you have. It's like really embedded, in which case, again, look for help from other sources and people. Don't be afraid to talk about and really get to what it is that you need. Allow your mind, allow yourself to change, right? Don't beat yourself up. This is existence. This is the way it goes. So let's go. Last, I want to do one more card for overall energy when we take these steps. The sword, which is the sword of separation, right? It's separating the night and day here. It's got this lightning bolt through it. Separation, more separation. Perhaps this separation also really, really hurts you, even if you were the one who kind of contributed to it, or you were just part of contributing to it, even if you were not the one to set it over the edge, right? It's obviously really painful with the Three of Swords, and it's like, why would I even want to pursue anything like that again? Like, especially if you're blaming yourself on any level. And it looks by the cards here that you might be. With this Three of Pentacles card that came up that was in reverse, by the way, this is not collaborating with the people that you once collaborated with, perhaps. And this is more of this like formulating what it is that will work for you. And maybe that involves talking with other people, but I'd be really, really choosy about who you're talking to about it, because we all have different, traumas and predispositions and phobias and like ways of looking at the world. Some are more inclined to stick to tradition and see taboo subjects and continue to see them that way, no matter what you try to tell them about it or talk about, right? And so I'd be really choosy about that, but perhaps it could really, really help down the line. I'd say start at first with your own research and allow yourself to be taboo about it, right? Even if it's uncomfortable, like I'm going to set aside time to let myself really think about this. And you can ask yourself questions and like, what is it that fulfills me outside of relationships? So then what is it that would fulfill me in a relationship in comparison? Like whatever, I don't know where I'm going with this. Like, what is it that's going to help me feel free to grow? If I could get anyone to agree to be in a relationship with me in any way that like actually fit me, right? That's a selfish way of thinking, but at first we got to do that to like figure out what it is we want. And then down the line, if that comes up and someone's into that, you can figure out how to compromise with their needs and whatever. But you have to know what you want. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And thanks for tuning in, and see you on the next one.